too. So,
Oh, perfect. Again,
yeah.
just how I planned it.
Hey, everybody. Uh,
Okay.
Welcome to the You Have to Watch This podcast Oscar preview, where today Devon and myself will be going through our Oscar ballots and making our picks. I'm Alan,
And I'm Devon.
and Ryan could not join us for this today, but there's a twist to everything. We are going to be making Ryan's picks for him because he said, and I quote,
Oh, you have it.
I don't care. So we are going to be, for each pick, I have a magical dice here that is making Ryan's picks for him. You will see here it says roll again because for most categories, there are only 5 nominees and 6 sides to the dice. And I don't think I have a 5-sided dice anywhere. So thank you to the chat for saying we look wonderful. Devon,
Thank
I
you.
believe, is actually in a full tuxedo right now, right?
I am in a full. I'm wearing jeans. I have to admit.
I'm surprised you're wearing jeans because I've been around you and I have photographic evidence you don't like to wear pants.
It's usually nothing, honestly. But no, I even have my suspenders on for this one. I'm like so pumped for this.
I'm saving the fancy getup for Sunday because this Sunday you can join us for our Oscars watch party right here online. We'll be watching the Oscars or at least giving our commentary on it. We won't be able to stream the Oscars ourselves. We'll just be giving our reactions to everything that's happening. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully some friends of the show will be stopping by. We call a lot of people friends of the show, but I think some of them might actually be popping in for that event, including Devon. Like Devon's going to try to be there in time for the best picture.
I will.
Which will be usually around 11 o'clock midnight U.S. time, like Eastern time. What time is that for you?
Around 5 in the morning. So it's not actually too bad for me.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, that's just an early morning. That's all right.
Okay, so before we get started, we are going through, how many categories did I say?
We have 18 categories
18
today.
18 categories. So we skipped over a few categories for the Oscars just because it's not fair for us just to randomly pick a few of these. So we will not be covering documentary feature or documentary short subject or the live action short film and animated short film because we just haven't seen any of those. If I had to guess on any of them, Summer of Soul is like the one documentary I can see winning the documentary feature.
Oh, really? I don't know anything about it.
It's by Questlove from The Roots. They found a bunch of
Weird.
footage from a concert in, I think, Harlem in like the 70s that was like lost to time, but they restored it and released it. And it's like all these prolific artists performing.
Wow.
And they're talking about like that summer and like what was going on in the world and in civil rights and all of that. So I haven't seen it yet. But I feel like I have enough information and have seen enough films this year to talk about the rest of the categories.
Yeah.
Because I have seen 9 out of the 10 best pictures.
Holy cow.
Yes, I have not made it. I will watch the last one before Sunday. I could not squeeze it in today. The only best picture I did not see is King Richard.
Okay. Fair.
So, without further ado, Devon, do you want to get this show started?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All
so
right.
the very first category that we have today is Best Animated Feature.
And this is something we talked about a bit last night on our show proper. So we have the nominees here. They are Encanto, which we talked about last night, Flea, Luca, Mitchell versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Devon, what are your thoughts on this category?
I think it's weird there's so much Disney in this category. I think it's 3 of the 5 are like a Disney or Pixar project. I've never seen Flea. I think of any of these, Flea is the only one that I haven't seen at least part of. I've seen part of Raya and the Last Dragon, part of Mitchell versus the Machines. I guess I haven't seen Luca, but I've seen Encanto completely, obviously, a couple of times.
I'm intrigued by Flea because it's nominated in another category we are not covering.
Yeah.
In our actual ballots, which is international feature film. So it's an international animated film, which which usually goes to like an anime of some sort. So I'm curious to see what Flea is, but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think my pick in this one's going to be very predictable. I don't think that anyone's going to be surprised to hear what I think is going to win.
Well, do you want to pick first for this one, and then I'll go second, and we'll do... Are we going to do Ryan last for all of them?
We should do Ryan last for all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll go first for this category. So in this category, my nominee is Encanto. My reason behind it is because nothing has, and I know they don't necessarily take this into account, but nothing seemed to have kind of made it into the cultural zeitgeist much like Encanto had. I hadn't heard anything about Flea. Maybe it did in the country in which it was released, but I heard Mitchell's versus the Machines was just surprisingly good, but not great. And I heard that Luca and Raya were just fine. So I think of these, Encanto is the standout and is going to win.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go for Encanto, especially after our conversation yesterday. Like you said, 3 out of the 5 are Disney picks.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I see happening. I can see the 3 Disney picks splitting the vote. My pick, and I haven't seen this film, but I've only heard great things about it. I'm going Mitchell versus the Machines.
Interesting. Okay.
Right off the gate, I like we're not seeing eye to eye here.
Perfect. I was afraid we'd have exactly the same sheets.
No, I don't think we will.
Okay, good.
But yeah, that's my pick. I've only heard great things about this. Is from Lord and Miller, who did Into the Spider-Verse. So
yeah,
I'm really excited to see this. This might make it to my watch list before Sunday. Quicker than Raya the Last Dragon and Luca, both of which my 5-year-old niece loved. So,
oh wow, okay,
she'll be very upset with me if she knew. But I think the question everyone wants to know is, what's Ryan going to vote? What's his vote for? So let's switch over to our dice cam and see.
You have a dice cam?
I have a dice cam, so everyone else can see. So we're not cheating. So right here on the screen, let's see. Ryan's pick is number 4, which is also Mitchell's and the Machines. So we're just going to go.
Good.
So, so Ryan and I have the same ballot so far. So that's interesting. When reach for comment, Ryan said, meh. But all right. So let's get rid of the dice cam here and move on to the next category, which is Devon.
Next category is visual effects.
Okay. So in this category, we have Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man No Way Home. So
would you want to talk about yours first?
Okay. Hold on a second. My video's doing a weird thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, yours is too. Crap.
Oh. Wonder what I can do to fix that.
It's not you, it's me.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's just gonna.
Do I at least look like I'm like mid burp?
No, no.
Dang.
It's so we're in Discord, so the green box is popping up each time we talk. So I'm trying to cut that.
Oh, got it. That makes sense.
Let me go in here. All right. Why don't you talk about your pick first while I play with this?
Absolutely. So I actually had a lot more of a think about this pick than I thought I would, because originally I was just going to go straight to Spider-Man No Way Home, but talking to you and Ryan on a previous episode of the podcast, specifically about the visual design, you guys made a good point where Spider-Man No Way Home, while it was visually very, very great and awesome in what it does, it's also nothing we haven't really seen before in like Doctor Strange or other previous Marvel things. And it's also something I don't think that's been done, or that hasn't been done better. And I had that same thought for Shang-Chi and No Time to Die. While those were amazing, I think that they were arguably done a bit better in other movies and were also something that we haven't seen before. And Free Guy as well, I think, from what I know, I didn't watch it, but from what I know of it, it seems like Scott Pilgrim may have done a bit better as well. So for that reason, I ended up picking Dune because it seems like they were giving us something that we haven't seen before. But B, I know that you had seen Dune, and you said that it needs to be seen in theaters. I feel like I would have gotten the same experience from almost any of these movies if I didn't see them in theater. I actually feel like I missed out on something not having seen Dune in theater.
Yeah, Dune.
So my pick is Dune.
Okay. Dune. So I saw 2 of these in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
3 of these. Sorry, I forgot about Shang-Chi. Out of the Marvel films, I'm kind of surprised Shang-Chi and Spider-Man are the 2 nominated when you had Eternals come out as well. Because I think visually speaking, Eternals is the more interesting film. There's
Especially
a lot
with the
There's a lot going on, especially in the third act of Shang-Chi. But in Spider-Man, there's been reports that they changed a lot as the film was coming out, visual effects wise. So I think that kind of hurts it, like updating effects and stuff. What I've seen of Free Guy, it looks fine. It's kind of weird. That film's in such a weird place in history because it was a Fox film and then Fox got bought out, so then they went back and added Disney stuff.
That's very strange. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it pains me that this is the only place Spider-Man is listed here. But I think I've got to go Dune. There's just so much visually going on. Yeah, I'm going Dune. Yeah.
What were you going to change it to? I need to know.
I was going to change it to Spider-Man just to be
different. No, I genuinely think this is Dune. I think they made it with the fact that it needed to be released in theaters. It needed to be a hook into theaters in mind. So I think they really blew it out with the special effects.
Yeah, and I still ended up watching it on HBO Max. So
good.
So yeah, that's my pick for visual effects. Let's go over to the dice cam and see what Ryan picked. I cannot wait to send him his ballot.
I hope from like number 1 on out, it's just garbage.
Why it keeps coming up number 4?
Is it loaded?
It's not. Roll again. Jeez. I think it's because it's on an angle. I'm switching to an actual dice. I was worried that was going to happen. All right, so that's 5. So Ryan's pick is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I'm glad somebody got it because I feel like that's probably the other closest one.
All right, so yeah, I'm going to just use the actual dice because I feel like that's going to work out better now.
Sure.
All right, so moving on to our next category, which is
sound.
Okay, and the nominees for Best Sound for this year's Academy Awards are Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. So I've seen all of these films.
Okay.
Most of these I watched at home. The only one of these I saw in theaters was No Time to Die.
Okay.
And seeing that in a Dolby theater really affects the sound quality of it.
I bet it does.
But Power of the Dog doesn't really do anything that interesting sound wise.
I didn't think it did. No.
West Side Story. I have thoughts on West Side Story we'll get into later.
We'll have to.
For me, it's a toss-up between Dune and Belfast. Belfast is a coming-of-age story about a kid, but the parts of it that are action, because there is a bit of that, given the place and time that it takes place, the sound is very good there. And then Dune, you've got a lot of ambient sound with the different planets and the special effects. Oh man, this is a tough one for me. Where are you standing right now?
All right, so of these, I've only seen No Time to Die and Power of the Dog. Power of the Dog did absolutely nothing for me. I think that if Dune is going to win, it's going to be because the sound the ornithopters make or the scream the sandworm has. But for me, it was No Time to Die. That's what I ended up picking in that one. I know that No Time to Die was nominated for a few things. I want it to win something because I think it's wonderful. So this is my little nod to I think No Time to Die should win something. That's my pick for sound.
Okay, I think I'm going Dune.
You're going Dune?
I'm going Dune. Belfast has a lot of things going on in it that are great sound wise, but Dune just you talking about the helicopters and then the sandworm, like, yeah, like that's stuff we haven't really heard that way before. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Something
I'm
special.
going Dune.
Okay.
In chat, Big Cat 4444 asks, "Was Free Guy good?" I've only seen about half of it because I went over to my brother's house and they had it on the TV for my niece and nephew. And
What did you think?
from what I saw of it, it was good. It was okay. Like, I didn't have a problem with it. It just, I want to watch it from the beginning to give an actual judgment on it.
My wife and sister both really liked it. They watched it when I was gone a couple nights ago. They both loved it. And I think that it's in this like weird place, like you said, in history, where like it was almost a straight to streaming service release. It's essentially Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds. And the plot looks like it's just fine. Like it looks like kind of Wreck-It Ralph, or the second Wreck-It Ralph movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard it was really good, especially if you just enjoy Ryan Reynolds. So I think that I need to give it a better chance than I have at this point.
Yeah.
If that helps you out at all, chat. Thank you for your question.
And make sure to hit that follow button. All right. So let's go ahead and see what Ryan's pick is for best sound. Switch over to the dice cam right here in between us. Roll the dice. 3, which is No Time to Die.
Good choice, Ryan. On the winning team. I appreciate it.
We'll see. All right. That does it for our sound category. Moving on to the writing stuff.
Yes. So our next category is Best Adapted Screenplay.
Okay. And I have seen 4 out of the 5 of these. So the nominees are Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Last Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. The only one of these I did not see is The Lost Daughter.
Okay.
So the only source material that I'm familiar with is Dune, because the Dune books have been around for years. There have been several attempts at making a Dune film that just never got took off like this Dune did. What are your thoughts on the story? Like, you've seen one of these?
I've seen 2 of these. I've seen I've only seen one of these. So this one was actually a pretty easy category for me though. So in preparation for the Dune movie, I read the Dune book for the second time in my entire life. The first time I read the Dune book, I couldn't get through it. The second time I read it, I was just, I don't understand how they could make it a movie. And not because it was so insane, but because it's essentially so nothing, that I was like, okay, I can't see this adapting itself into a screenplay that 2021 audiences are going to think is good. And the fact that people saw Dune, they didn't hate Dune, and that it became accessible to people, like, is amazing to me. There's so much jargon and so much nonsense thrown around in Dune that the fact that they made it palatable for today's audience feels like it, for me, deserves to win this category. It is my pick.
Okay. Well, you're going really hard on the Dune, aren't you?
You know what? I am. I don't think it's only there for 2 categories. Nope, 3. It's there for 3 categories. We'll find out what the other one is.
I think I know what the other one is. All right. So Power of the Dog is good, but Coda and Drive My Car are better.
Are they?
Drive My Car is very dialogue heavy and very conversation based. And because it's a 3-hour film that I had to watch in chunks because that was a lot of reading. So I feel like I've read the screenplay for it.
Perfect.
Coda, though, is also a lot of reading. Are you familiar with Coda at all?
I know what it is in like a musical sense. Like it's the tagline after the musical note.
Okay.
Or musical piece.
Let me tell you what the film Coda is about. Coda does not stand for the musical thing that you're talking about.
Okay.
Coda in this stands for child of deaf adults. So this is about a high school senior who is the child of 2 deaf parents and has a deaf brother. and she embarks on a musical career. Like in high school, the choir teacher's like, you have a talent. I want to help you audition to get into Berklee School of Music in Boston.
Wow.
And like the whole, like her parents like not really understanding it because they're deaf and don't really see, like they want her to just help with the fishing business. It's on the list for the podcast now, whether it wins this weekend or not. It's on the list because I absolutely enjoyed this. I absolutely love this film. And I think that's my pick. Coda is my pick. Yeah. I talked myself into it. So my pick for adapted screenplay is Coda.
I mean, I think we took different tacks. I think yours was like, what was the most enjoyable movie? Mine was which source material was the most garbage that they made palatable for us.
Well, and the thing with Coda is like you have to tell so much of the story visually, and the screenplay relies on that because more than half of your main cast doesn't speak. So that's
a good point.
And like the way they tell the story in such a way, and like, I'll talk about it more down the line. But
good, I can't wait.
It's my pick. Drive My Car is great. I don't know the material that it's based off of, but if it's going to win, it's going to win other things in the Oscars this year. I feel like Drive My Car is going to win international feature. So.
Oh, okay. I think that makes sense.
All right. What is your pick?
My pick for adapted screenplay is Dune.
Okay. Did we already say that?
Dune. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What is Ryan's pick?
Ryan's pick? I'm glad you asked. Let's find out.
This is my favorite part of this.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. 6. Roll again. 4. So his is
Lost Daughter.
Lost Daughter. Way to go, Ryan.
Oh, it's Maggie Gyllenhaal though that wrote that. That's very cool.
Yeah, and she directed it as well.
Wow. All right. Good pick, Ryan.
So yeah, go Ryan. Okay, let's move on to the next category, which is original screenplay.
Category. Yep, original screenplay. So I wanted to talk about this one just a bit because I know in original screenplay, I know one of these actually, or I've seen one of these. But I think that it's a good one. I think the one that I saw is the one that's going to win and is my pick. The reason that I picked it, and I'll kind of spoiler, bury the lead here. My pick for this one is Don't Look Up. And the reason that my pick is Don't Look Up is because, not because it's a great movie, not because it's a movie that I'll recommend everyone to watch, but because it's so uncomfortable the whole time because it gets so much right about so many things and is such a good reflection of basically where we are now as a society that I feel like that does a good enough job of saying like, hey, here's basically a mirror. And I think that that's more clever than something that might be entirely original. I always like satire. I think that's my thing. I think satire is very clever and satire is hard to do. So I think good satire should be rewarded.
Don't Look Up is very good satire, and I agree with you on that. I have not seen King Richard yet.
Okay.
I did not like Licorice Pizza at all. I don't know.
I want to talk about that one at some point with you.
We'll talk about it when we get to Best Picture, because I think that's when it comes up again, or maybe director. I have not seen The Worst Person in the World. My pick is Belfast.
Your pick, okay.
So I without a doubt Belfast, because what's interesting to me about Belfast, and you can't really say this for many films that are this high in quality, like Oscar tier films. Kenneth Branagh wrote and directed this film about his own life. So this is like the first autobiography film that I can think of. This category is original screenplay.
Yeah.
So like I'm just answering the chat there.
I thought you thought I lost the thread of the conversation.
No.
Like, I got you, man. I'm on.
No, Kenneth Branagh, like, this is such a personal story to him, and the personal side of it, like, what happens to his family, what his parents were going through, what his grandparents are going through, what he went through as a kid, because they never say his name. That the character that is him is called Buddy the whole time.
Oh, weird.
but it's Kenneth Branagh. It's his story. And I think, like, sure, you have Kevin Smith doing Clerks where it's like a version of himself, but this is like based on true events and a
literally
personal
himself.
story. And it feels so personal too. And there's such a personal touch to this that you can feel in the film that I think it absolutely deserves Best Original Screenplay. That's
a good reason. That's a really good reason. I like that we came at this from very different like angles.
Yeah, and I absolutely want to read the screenplay to Belfast because you can't see it here, but I've got a whole shelf. Devin's seen it. I've got a whole shelf here of screenplays, so I want to add that one to my list. Let's see what Ryan's pick was. So we switch over to our dice cam and roll the dice for Ryan's pick for Best Original Screenplay, and it is roll again. All right. 4.
Licorice Pizza.
Licorice Pizza. Okay, Ryan. All right.
Making some bold moves there, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I need to get a cup to throw the dice to actually shake it up a bit, but I'm not that worried about it.
As long as you're shaking it in your hands, that's good enough. Yeah. It's classy.
It's also like on the other side of my microphone arm here, so I only have like one hand to do it. So it's a little awkward. Moving on to the next category, which is Devon.
Best Production Design.
Production Design. Okay. So the nominees for Best Production Design for this year's Oscars are Dune, Nightmare Alley, Don't Look Up, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. So the one outlier here that I'm like, maybe. Like I actually no, it's the one outlier here that's like I don't know why this got nominated is Don't Look Up. There's not really much here that stands out visually production wise, but all these other ones are set in their own little worlds. West Side Story does a great job of recreating the world that West Side Story is based in. West Side New York in the 1950s. Power of the Dog, you've got the West, what is it, Montana?
I think it's Montana, yeah.
Yeah. Dune, you've got the planets from Dune. You got the sand dunes. Arrakis, the Dave Bautista planet. And then you have Nightmare Alley, which...
I don't know anything about this one.
Okay, Nightmare Alley is also on the list for you guys to watch on the podcast now. Nightmare Alley is about a man who does a crime and then joins the circus, and then it's his journey from like learning to be a mentalist and his journey with that. And
that's exciting. He's a mentalist?
He becomes a mentalist. Yes, he learns how to become a mentalist and like con people.
I told you I did that in college, right?
No.
I set up a booth. I set up a booth and could read people's fortunes in college because I got really bored. I had a bowling ball that one of my friends had as my like crystal ball. It was wonderful.
Oh man.
Yeah. This is a personal tale for me. Nightmare Alley.
But Nightmare Alley is a Guillermo del Toro film, and it has a lot of the same. It's kind of got the same like dirty feel as The Shape of Water.
Okay.
So
he has a style.
It's very much in his style, and
yeah,
it's very much that style. And I think that's my pick. I think Nightmare Alley is my pick. Dune is close. Dune is a very close second. And if it wasn't for everything ripping off Dune since 1977, maybe I would pick Dune. But we've seen some of the things in like Dune just goes back to the basics of things that we've already seen in film. Nightmare Alley, it's stuff like it's a remake, but it has such a unique style to it that that's my pick.
I have a weird pick for this one. So I don't think that my pick has anything that we haven't seen before. I don't think that it's entirely new, unique, or even in a singular style. But I think that it's done so incredibly well. And it also helped that I saw a little like sneaky peek back scene, like or behind the scenes, like here's how our production worked. to the point where I know that some of the stuff that went into it was incredibly impressive. My pick for this one is actually Power of the Dog. Because I know that what they put behind a lot of the production of that is incredible and way above and beyond. Like, we bought a hat at a cowboy store and we're going to put it on Benedict Cumberbatch for 2 hours. It was a lot more than that. So that's my pick.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that that was in New Zealand.
Right, which is so impressive because it did not look like New Zealand.
Yeah. Okay, so your pick was Power of the Dog. My pick was Nightmare Alley. Let's hear what Ryan's pick was. Turn on the dice cam. Give it a good shake here. All right, and we got a 2. So Ryan's pick is Nightmare Alley.
Good job, Ryan.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next category, which is
Best Costume Design.
Best Costume Design. So if anyone is watching at home, I have so much going on here between my ballot and Ryan's ballot. And the graphics are in a certain order that I gave Devon. I was like, you have one thing you're in charge of, and it's reminding me what category is next.
That's what I'm here for.
Because the way I have it written down on Ryan's ballot is that they're all over the place, and I can't find them. So like he's talking, I'm over here trying to figure out which one is next on my ballot. All right, so this is costume design.
Yes.
And the nominees for costume design are Disney's Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story.
So I'll start talking about this if you want.
Go for
it.
I
had heard, I'd seen Dune, right? I'd seen like parts of Dune, not all of it, but I'd seen like parts of it, and especially parts of like people's costumes and stuff. And none of it looks great. Like, it looks like essentially they're wearing like wetsuits in the desert with little tubes in their nose. And like at some point Zendaya looks like she's in like a perfume commercial. Like, none of it blew me away for what they could have done with it. But there was one that definitely blew me away. And it was my pick, Cruella.
Okay.
I loved the costume in this. I loved it. I mean, I get that that was the point and that it should have been, but it very much made you believe it. And the other part of it is it was so true to like the London grunge scene that was emerging at the time, which I think is a really interesting and kind of hard line to draw for a Disney film of all things.
Yeah. West Side Story does a great job of recreating the looks of the original film. I haven't seen Cyrano. I'm kind of surprised it wasn't nominated for actor for Peter Dinklage from what I've seen.
Right.
I've only seen the beginning of Cruella. I haven't seen the whole thing. So I don't disagree with you on Cruella because that whole, like Cruella DeVille at the end of the day is a fashion designer, right?
So, yeah, exactly. She is.
Like the whole point of 101 Dalmatians is she wants a coat. So yeah,
right.
Costumes have to be a big deal of that. Nightmare Alley does a great job of recreating the late 1930s, 1940s.
This feels like old timey, like coppers, like you'll never get me, like that kind
That's
of.
That's exactly how Bradley Cooper sounds throughout the film.
Is it?
No.
Oh, you got excited.
So it's a real toss up for me between Nightmare Alley and Dune. I
will say.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I will say that Dune sounds like it has the most different kinds of costumes than everything in this movie.
It does. I think I'm going Dune. I think Dune.
You're going Dune? All right.
So let me find it on here. Dune. Dune is my pick. Just because they're like, it's nothing that we like. We talked about the production design and how they use a lot of things that have been done before. The costumes, though, seem very unique and very different. Like they're like Porkins in the chat said, the Dune costumes are accurate to the books, and I've never read the books, but I can believe it because they are very.
Someone in chat's name's Porkins.
Yeah.
I love that name. Thank you. Sorry, that was it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet they are accurate to the books. I'm sure they are. But like, they seem like they have this mix of like space Game of Thrones and like wetsuit. And I like the design of the wetsuit. I like how practical it is, or dry suit, whatever they call it. I like it, and I like that it is practical. But it just seemed fine. Like, it seemed like they just did it in a fine way.
Yeah, I think I'm going Dune.
You going Dune? All right, fair.
Uh,
Good pick.
I was gonna say not Dune because it was the only one that had a Fortnite skin, but
That
okay.
hurt me a little bit.
All right, let's find out what Ryan's pick is.
All right.
All
ready.
right. 3. So that would be
Is he Dune?
Dune.
All right.
Oh, I lost it. I lost it on here.
Porkins, that one's for you. Also, still excellent name. Good job.
All right. Porkins is actually from our high school.
Porkins is from our high school?
Yeah.
Well, he's absolutely crushing. He or she is absolutely crushing the username game.
Oh yeah. All right. So
is it a Star Wars reference?
Has
to be.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Has to be.
Oh yeah. He says he's a huge Star Wars nerd. So yes, it's a reference.
Love it.
All right. Next category.
Best makeup and hairstyling.
Okay. There's one on here I know you've seen, so I'm interested to hear your take on it. All right. So for makeup and hairstyling, we have Coming to America, Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci.
All right, so I almost wanted to give this one to House of Gucci, if I'm being entirely honest, because I think that what they did with Lady Gaga was phenomenal. They made her look exactly like her real life counterpart. I can't remember. I'm going to call her Mrs. Gucci and be entirely wrong. But they made her look very much like her.
Excuse me. It's Lady Gaga, so it's Lady Gucci.
Fair. Lady Gucci. They made her look very close, which is insanely wonderful. And I almost would have given it to the people that had done the Kristen Stewart Princess Diana autobiography as well, but it wasn't nominated. So it has to go to Cruella. I mean, for me, it just fits. The costume and the makeup and hair was phenomenal throughout the entire thing. I think that they go hand in hand.
Oh man, this is the one category I really don't know.
Okay.
I have not seen Coming to America. I know you have.
I have. I can't give it to it. I mean, it just like they did the thing where Eddie Murphy is multiple people. That's it. They did it. I mean, but also like Tyler Perry's done that, and so is Mike Myers, and like it's. I don't know. I don't know that it's better than any of those.
But Eddie Murphy did it first. Out of those guys.
That's very fair.
So did the makeup change at all from the first one to this one 35 years later? Okay.
I'm going to say a hard no on that one.
I have not seen Eyes of Tammy Faye. I do know that the makeup that they did to Jessica Chastain like permanently scarred her eyes.
What?
Yeah, like doing that makeup like left her with like damaged skin.
I straight up won't vote for it for this category then. That sounds like the worst makeup.
But at the same time, she does look like Tammy Faye Baker. Whereas Jared Leto just looks like he has rubber latex on his face in House of Gucci. So I really don't know. I might let the dice do this one for me too.
Either that or go with your heart.
Because Dune, like, there's so much going on in Dune, but the makeup wasn't really something that stood out to me.
Did they de-age anyone? Okay, how was the bad guy? How was De Bautista? Because I know what he's supposed to look like. I know what he looks like from the books. And his makeup could be very standout.
Their whole thing was cool.
Okay.
So if I did give it to them, it would be for
the Harkonnens.
But you know, I haven't seen the film. I've seen the trailers a few times. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to go Eyes of Tammy Faye. Because not only do they transform her into Tammy Faye Baker, they do a pretty good job of transforming Andrew Garfield into not Andrew Garfield.
That is very hard to do.
Yeah, especially when you have a 2021 like Andrew Garfield had.
Right. Right.
Because he does look different in that. So that's my choice. I'm going Eyes of Tammy Faye.
I mean, Jessica Chastain almost literally bled for that makeup, so yeah. I hope she wins.
All right, so let's find out what Ryan tonight's pick is using the dice. Let's see. Roll again. Roll again. 2, which is...
Is it Cruella?
Cruella.
Perfect.
All right. Get rid of the dice cam. All right. Let's move on to the next category, which is...
Original score.
Original score. Oh, this is my wheelhouse, baby.
This is all you. So I want you to talk about it first because my conversation is going to seem stupid in comparison.
Okay. Well, first of all, let's talk about what I think should have been nominated, and I understand why it wasn't.
What is it?
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Interesting. Why should it have been nominated?
One, Michael Giacchino.
Okay,
should
fair.
always be nominated at least once a year. But I can understand why it's not. Because it's using themes that have already been done in a Marvel film with the Tom Holland Spider-Mans. And it's using elements of scores from other Spider-Man films. So it's not really original. It wins the Oscar for Best Adapted Score.
New category just for him.
Other than that, let me look. So I'm a big musical score guy, film score guy. So let me look through and see what I have on my phone from the last year score-wise.
Okay. So while you're looking through, I can tell you this was a pretty easy category for me.
Okay.
Because I like musical scores a lot. I'm not nearly as proficient in them as you, but I like a very specific type of musical score. And only one of them really fits that wheelhouse. So I've never listened to Parallel Mothers. Power of the Dog was just fine. I didn't remember anything in the score that particularly blew me away about that. I almost as like a rule, don't love Disney scores almost at all. I like the songs they come up with. I don't like the scores. And Don't Look Up was just fine score-wise. Nothing blew me away. I love scores that do what Dune's score does a lot. Because that's the kind of stuff that I'll put on at work and get so amped up and so focused to do work that I'm just in a good mood for the whole day. I'll do that. I mean, and maybe it's Hans Zimmer specifically, but like I'll do that with like Gladiator. I'll do that with Pirates of the Caribbean, any of them. I like scores that do what it's doing. So that's my pick. Is Dune.
That's my pick too. Absolutely. I'm not even going to bury the lead there. So I was going through my phone. The only score from a film that I have from last year that is nominated is that I have on my phone right now is Dune. Best use of a bagpipe in a musical score for a film ever. The House Atreides theme was fun. As soon as I heard that bagpipe, I was like, Oscar. Just give it to. Not to mention, Hans Zimmer has worked with Christopher. Name a Chris Nolan film that Hans Zimmer did not do the music for.
I mean, you're right. I don't know that I can.
Tenet. He turned down Tenet to do Dune. Like he's like, I'd love to do Tenet, Christopher, but I gotta. Dune is my passion project. He was so excited to do Dune. He wanted to do Dune so bad he turned away Chris Nolan. So like it's such a passion project, and like hearing the way they did like some of the chanting, like Hans Zimmer all the way.
I just feel like it fits like story wise too. Like it makes sense that Atreides would have bagpipes in it because of the planet that they came from. It makes sense that the chanting would be there for the people that live in this hand. Like it all makes sense. It's just good. It's good. Good job.
Yes. So Dune is our picks. Let's see if Ryan can make it unanimous. This would be the first time that all three of us agree on the same category.
We're going for the hat trick.
Nope.
What did he vote for?
He got 4. So that would be Parallel Mothers.
Parallel Mothers. I don't even know what this is, to be fair. I don't know what Parallel Mothers.
It was playing once at our local theater, and I didn't know what it was, so I didn't go. And now I feel like I'm never going to see it. So
no, probably not.
But okay, so that's the dice cam. Moving on to the next category, Devon. What do we got?
Which you don't have a graphic for.
I do not have a graphic for. That is correct. So
the next category is Best Original Song.
Okay, so the nominees for this one. The reason I don't have a graphic for this is because I wanted to include the artists, and the list I was going off of didn't have them. And,
sure.
And I ran out of time to make it. So
also fair.
The nominees are... Devon, you want to read the nominees? You read the nominees.
I'd be happy to. So the nominees are Be Alive from King Richard, music and lyrics by Dixon and Beyonce Knowles Carter. Dos Oruguitas from Encanto, music and lyrics by Lin-Manuel Miranda, friend of the show. Next one is Down to Joy from Belfast, music and lyrics by Van Morrison. And then we also have No Time to Die from No Time to Die, music and lyrics by Billie Eilish and Phineas. And then Somehow You Do from Four Good Days, music and lyrics by Diane Warren. So I listened to every one of these songs today.
So did I.
Two of them made me literally angry.
Okay. Which two?
So one of which is a bit of a Seal kiss from a rose kind of opinion that I know that like I'm definitely in the minority here. Okay. I did not like the Beyonce song. I just didn't. I think that the Beyonce song was a pastiche of better Beyonce songs. And they were like, what does Beyonce do well? This, and this. We're putting it in a song. It's in our movie now. We got Beyonce, guys. Let's applaud ourselves. And I just hated Somehow You Do. The more I listened to Somehow You Do, the more mad I got. The rhyme scheme was lazy. I understand Diane Warren is a powerhouse and she has done better things. This song was not my thing at all. I get so mad about this song. And then I couldn't hum you even a second of Down to Joy. I don't think Van Morrison and I have ever connected. But like I just heard it and I was like, yep, that was Van Morrison. Next. I have been singing Dos Oruguitas to myself forever. It is my pick. I love this song. I think it might even be my favorite song in all of Encanto.
I agree with you on most of what you just said.
Okay.
I'm going to stand up for Belfast for a second here.
Okay.
Down to Joy does the way they use it in the film, and I believe I'm correct, and if I'm wrong, please forgive me. The way they use it in the film is such a juxtaposition of what the film is going to be. The film opens on this color montage of Belfast today to the song Down to Joy. And then cuts to black and white and you're in the past. And the song ends. And then you get like right into the thick of things. And like the Protestants are attacking and like
no. Oh boy.
But it does such a great job. Like it's such a great tourist video for Belfast. Like, I kind of want to go to Belfast now. And it really does a great job. Like Van Morrison does the whole soundtrack to Belfast.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal. And it really adds something to the film. I'm really torn between that and Encanto though for best song.
So when we were talking about best song last night, you said, I know that Van Morrison did the whole album or did the whole movie. I hope this one is the one that's nominated. Was this the one you hope was nominated or was there one? Okay. There wasn't a better one some other time.
I didn't get a chance to double check that that's where it was from, but I'm pretty sure that's the right song.
Okay. Got it.
So your pick is Encanto.
Yes.
I'm going to go, I'm going to go Down the Joy. I'm going to go Belfast.
All right, there we go.
So just to be a little bit different. And let's see what Ryan's pick is. Roll again. Oh, why isn't the dice cam coming up? There we go. 3. His pick is
with you.
Down the Joy. I'm gonna roll that again.
Okay. Give him another shot.
5.
Somehow you do. Oh no. Oh, he got the worst one.
Yeah, probably. I wanted to re-roll that because I didn't feel like I gave it a good shake. So, all right. So let's move on to the next category, Devon, which is...
This one is Best Cinematography. Would you like me to run through the nominees?
Go for it.
Our nominees for this category are Dune, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story.
Okay. I have seen all but one of these.
You haven't seen Macbeth, have you?
I have not seen Tragedy of Macbeth.
Okay.
Yet. Okay. So, first of all, West Side Story if you've seen the original West Side Story, picture that, but with lens flares.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't really do anything new and exciting cinematography wise. It does. It's very much. It felt like a tribute to that original film.
Okay.
Power of the Dog, I think, has some great visuals in it. Dune has some phenomenal visuals in it as well. Nightmare Alley. It might be Nightmare Alley for me because the film is so stylized. It's so Del Toro to begin with, and the camera work does such a great job of telling that story and like making you feel like you're in that world. I don't know. I'm torn right now. What are you thinking? Are you leaning Dune again?
No, we have a crossover. So I actually have Dune written down as my official pick on here. But the more you talk about specifically what Nightmare Alley is, the more I feel like it's just going to be done better than Dune is. So my pick is Nightmare Alley.
Okay.
I also wanted Guillermo del Toro to get like a win for something.
Yeah. In Nightmare Alley, does it like just looking at the posters here? There's a lot like the big thing in Hollywood right now has been blue and orange, which Dune does. It's a different shade of blue and orange, but Nightmare Alley like changes it up a bit. You know, I think I'm surprising myself here.
Yeah?
I think I'm going to go Power of the Dog.
Wow. Okay, tell me all about it.
So much of the story is told through these big visuals. And usually like I'm not a big fan of that, but they're so impactful to the story, especially like having watched it twice. Because I watched it again for the podcast. Like those visuals, like those shots are very important and very beautiful. So if I were to take a frame out of any of these films and hang it on my wall, it would probably be Power of the Dog.
All right.
So I think that I'm surprised by that. So
the more you're talking about it though, the more I'm like, you know what, you are right, because they have these very big sweeping visuals. You have that beautiful shot of the mountains with a dog on it, finally clicking like what Benedict Cumberbatch has been saying the whole time. But then you have those very like good tight shots of them in the house and how it feels claustrophobic. I mean, you might be right here.
Yeah. Let's find out what Ryan thinks.
Yeah. What does Ryan the Dice think?
Ryan the Dice. He got 3, so that is... Where did it go?
He's with you. Power of the Dog.
Why'd I pick it then? He should have. All right. Awesome. I just want to make sure I've been filling out his right. Yep. All right. So that does it for cinematography. Moving on to Devon.
Next category is film editing, where our nominees are. The nominees are Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, Power of the Dog, and Tick, Tick, Boom.
Okay. Oh, man. Do
you want me to, talk?
You go first.
Okay. So from what I know of Dune, all right, I'll run down the list quick. From what I know of I've seen Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up didn't do anything editing-wise that actually shocked me. It was very competently edited. I think that it was very good in what it does. I don't think that it surprised me in any way. I equally don't think that Dune did anything overly surprising or interesting in its film editing, but I don't know. I just heard that sometimes it cut to what looked like a shampoo commercial in the desert. So for me, that feels like a knock against it because I can totally get that. I don't know King Richard. Power of the Dog, I think, does a good job in its editing. I think better than the other ones had done. In how it conveys power, how it does a good job of showing characters when they're hiding, so like you have that nice shot of Benedict Cumberbatch kind of behind a door whistling at from upstairs when Kristen Dunst was downstairs. I thought was a really powerful shot. But my nominee for this one is Tick, Tick, Boom, because there are a couple of shots in here that I think are absolutely phenomenal, and they do a good job of changing styles in the middle of the film and editing in very interesting ways in it. So, for example, the play game looks very different than the rest of the movie is and very much fits, but then kind of flows into the rest of the movie and doesn't seem out of place. It does a good job of making kind of quick cuts whenever, you know, the action starts to get tense and things start to get tense, and it makes you feel that same anxiety that Andrew Garfield feels. I absolutely loved it. So my pick is Tick, Tick, Boom.
If I was a betting man,
and
you and I were going to have the same nominee for a category, this was going to be the one.
Yeah,
because for all the reasons you just said, Tick, Tick, Boom does such an interesting job of not only just like you talk about the play game, but just switching back and forth from the story, the narrative of the story itself, to Jonathan Larson on stage performing Tick, Tick, Boom. It seamlessly goes in between the two. And I think there's a version of that where it feels choppy and doesn't flow well. But even within the musical numbers in this, like the first number, 3090, like going from the stage to the bookstore, like it just seems so seamless.
It gives it a sense of energy that like a song otherwise wouldn't have.
Exactly. So I'm going with Tick, Tick, Boom as well.
And my real reason for this too is that like I think that if I watched this on stage, I would miss what the movie's doing with it. And that is so rare for an adapted musical, I think.
Yeah. And I really wish that would have been nominated for adapted screenplay.
Yeah, me too.
Let's see what Ryan thinks. Will we be unanimous in this? Power of the Dog.
You know what? I think that it's better than Don't Look Up. I really do.
Yeah.
I think that he didn't pick the worst one on there.
He did not.
So good job.
All right. So moving on to our next category, which is,
I think we're getting into some of the big ones now. This next one is best directing.
Okay.
So our nominees for best directing are Kenneth Branagh with Belfast. Oh my goodness. Reizuki Hamaguchi with Drive My Car. Paul Thomas Anderson with Licorice Pizza. Jane Campion with Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg with West Side Story.
Okay.
I would like you probably have more info on this than I do.
I have seen all of these films.
Perfect.
I don't know if it's just me or if it was just this film, but I don't get Paul Thomas Anderson. I don't get Licorice Pizza. It's so there's some. The film is about a 25-year-old woman being courted by a 15-year-old boy.
Oh.
And that's how the film starts. And it's about their relationship going forward and how they're not dating, but at the end, maybe they are. So it's kind of off-putting to begin with. But yeah, there were some fun scenes in here, but I don't know if I just need to see more Paul Thomas Anderson, but I was not a fan of Licorice Pizza.
Okay. Okay.
We talked a little bit on the show before about my thoughts on West Side Story. Spielberg wanted to do a musical. I wish he would have done one that hasn't been done before, because it just feels like he's remaking it, shot for shot. And it doesn't really, like, it being Spielberg doesn't really add anything to it, which is disappointing because it's Steven Spielberg.
Right.
Power of the Dog, I haven't seen much. I haven't seen any other Jane Campion work. I think Power of the Dog is good. And I think the direction that they took the story and how they laid everything out, especially the tension between Kristen Dunst and Benedict Cumberbatch, I think is phenomenal. And the way the story plays out is fantastic. Drive My Car is a very long film, but each moment is very well done. But before you even finish reading the categories, my pick was Belfast. This is such a personal film for Kenneth Branagh, and I said it before with the screenplay. It just feels so personal. It just feels like his story that he wanted to tell and the way he wanted to tell it, and the fact that it's his story that he wrote and he directed, it's so good. it's Belfast for me all the way.
I had such a weird road to my pick for this one because I didn't pick a movie that I saw, but I picked a movie that I knew. I knew the director for. So I ended up picking Belfast for this one. Mostly because every time I see any Kenneth Branagh movie, I go, Kenneth, buddy, you didn't have to go this hard. I'm glad you did, but you didn't have to. So, I mean, it was like that for Thor. It was like that for Hamlet.
It's funny because that's the exact same thing that Kevin Kline said to Kenneth Branagh on the set of Wild Wild West.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Oh, good. I forgot he's in that. That hurts me. Good. So yeah, that's my pick. Wild West. I think we should.
If Belfast wins, I feel
we're rewatching. 100%.
From Academy Award winner Kenneth Branagh. All right, let's move on. Let's see what Ryan's pick is for Best Director. Give it a good shake here. Roll again. All right. So 2, Drive My Car.
Nice. Very cool.
Not a bad pick. All right. So now I believe we're into the acting categories now, right?
We are. So the next category is best actor in a supporting role.
Okay.
So we have.
Do you want me to do the names for this, or do you got it?
Please do the names for this.
All right. I'm going to try.
Okay.
So we have Karyan Hins for Belfast, Troy Koster for Coda, Jesse Plemons for Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith McPhee for Power of the Dog. All right, Devon. So you can talk first because I know you've seen 2 of these films.
I've seen 2 of these films, so I've seen 3 of the nominees of these 5 nominees. Then my original brush for this was I was going to say that it was Cody Smith McPhee because I think that he's absolutely phenomenal in his role. But holy cow, Alan, do I love me some J.K. Simmons. And for no other reason than I just love J.K. Simmons. I think his part in Being the Ricardos was absolutely phenomenal. You know, that real life documentary that we watched.
Yes.
I think it was, but I think he was phenomenal. And I think he played his part very well. I think who he was in the beginning of the film was different than who he was at the end. And he showed that progression very naturally. My pick is J.K. Simmons.
I am not surprised at all. I'm kind of surprised you didn't say, well, because he was in Spider-Man, I have to include that in this. My favorite thing from when J.K. Simmons won the supporting actor, oh God, how many years ago was it? I think it was in 2014 for Whiplash. Neil Patrick Harris comes on stage after J.K. Simmons got his award and just goes, he won an Oscar. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. So that's a good pick.
Okay.
Going into the Oscar season, Cody Smith McPhee was going to be my pick because he did give such a strong, subtle performance in Power of the Dog. J.K. Simmons is a good pick. I kind of wish there was more of him in the film, but the moments that he have are Oscar bait. Like that's what they're there for.
Yep.
But my pick, without a doubt, is Troy Koster for Coda. He gives such a. He is deaf in real life.
Oh wow.
He gives such a wonderful performance without being able to speak a spoken language. So everything you see is his reactions. It's sign language. It's such a powerful performance. And there's a moment in the film, I don't want to spoil for you, but there's a moment in the film I was like, oh, that's it. Like that. And yeah, like his performance was phenomenal, and I really want him to win it this weekend. So that's my pick.
Okay. I can't wait to be proven wrong. I can't wait for it to be him.
Yeah. And
I'm excited to watch this movie now.
All right. And then let's see who Ryan picks. Ryan's with me.
Oh, is he with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2. Perfect. Has there ever been a pick that Ryan is like so different from us? Oh wait, with the original song, he was really different from us.
Yeah. Well, and I would say Drive My Car is a little bit out there.
That's true.
For directing for him. So, all right. Now it's Best Supporting Actress.
It is. Would you like to read these?
I will. Let me pull up my list here. And the nominees are. I've always wanted to say that.
It's good.
Jessie Buckley in The Lost Daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Ariana DeBose in West Side Story. Dame Judi Dench in Belfast. Kirsten Dunst in Power of the Dog. And Anakwe Ellis in King Richard. Mm-hmm. So I have seen 3 out of the 5 films here. I have not gotten to King Richard yet. Kirsten Dunst gives a very good performance in Power of the Dog.
She does.
Judi Dench gives a very good performance in everything that she's in. And every time I see Judi Dench in a film now, I'm like, I thought you retired, but maybe that was just from Bond. The one positive thing I will say about West Side Story is Ariana DeBois's performance as what's the character's name?
Is she Maria?
She's not Maria.
Oh, it's supporting. I don't know any other character.
Let me double check. I think I know it. It's the role that oh, why can't I think of it? Why can't I find it? It's in Anita. That's what I thought. It's in Anita. She's Anita. So she's the one who sings America.
Oh, got it. Okay.
She gives a great performance. Rita Moreno did a great job in the original film. And Rita Moreno is great in the new West Side Story too.
She's in the new one?
She's in the new one. Yeah. They gave her a part. They rewrote a part for her. And the scene between the two of them at the end of the film, if you know West Side Story, steals the film for me. Like, that was a powerful moment.
Oh, wow.
So I'm torn between her and Kirsten Dunst.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
You're going to hate my thoughts. This is, of any category, this is the one that I gave the least thought, or I gave the most stupid Devon thought into. So Kristen Dunst was originally my pick because she gave an amazing performance in Power of the Dog. She really did. But then literally while we were talking about it, I changed my pick to Dame Judi Dench because she was in Cats and it didn't bomb her career. And she was able to act in something like Belfast. Dame Judi Dench, good job.
Oh, man.
That was it.
Oh, man. That's a really shitty reason.
Isn't it, though?
Oh, man. Okay.
I mean, it should be Kristen Dunst or Kirsten Dunst. It should be because she was phenomenal. But it's Dame Judi Dench for me. It's got to be.
Yeah, I'm going Kirsten Dunst.
Okay. You were the pick I should have had.
Because she gives the performance throughout the whole film I think the tension between her and Cumberbatch is just so present throughout the whole thing. She's my pick.
Yeah, and you're exactly right there.
Let's find out what Ryan's pick was. I just dropped my pen. All right. He goes West Side Story.
West Side Story, very nice.
All right.
I mean, for everything that you mentioned, this feels right.
Yeah, I think that's a strong pick from Ryan there. The Ryan dice. All right. Yeah. Next category. Leading actor. Actor in.
Would you like to read these?
If you go right ahead.
All right, I'll read these. So this is actor in a leading role. Our nominees are Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Okay.
Would you like to go first?
I would, because I missed the episode where we talked about Being the Ricardos. So I didn't get to talk about Javier Bardem's performance as Desi Arnaz.
Mm-hmm.
Being familiar with Desi Arnaz and I Love Lucy, I never really saw Desi Arnaz in him. Like,
Really?
It didn't really like. I kept just seeing Javier Bardem. Like a lot of the other actors in their roles, I could see them doing an episode of I Love Lucy. I couldn't see him as Ricky.
Put a pin in that. We'll talk about that in just a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important for me.
Benedict Cumberbatch, I think, is phenomenal in Power of the Dog. He's a complete asshole in the film, and it sounds like he was one on set too because he went method.
Oh no!
I have not seen King Richard, but I know this is Will Smith's like second or second or third time he's gone for an Oscar.
Oh wow!
That's actually gotten him a nomination. And then Denzel Washington is Denzel Washington doing Shakespeare. I'm interested to see that. I just haven't yet, so I can't really speak to that.
Mm-hmm.
But even before the nominations came out, my favorite performance of last year was Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom, because there's so much chaotic energy emanating from him as Jonathan Larson that he just steals the film completely. And it's such a standout performance, whether you're watching the film or just listening to the soundtrack or even just looking at the pictures from the film. Like, you can tell that he's in it. Like, he becomes Jonathan Larson. Like, you watch the side-by-side footage of them performing, he has the same energy, and it's like watching a clone of him.
So your pick is Andrew Garfield?
My pick is Andrew Garfield.
Okay. Before I watched this movie, I would have told you, and the movie's Tick, Tick, Boom, obviously. Before I watched Tick, Tick, Boom, I would have told you that I'm not interested in Tick, Tick, Boom at all. I hate Rent. I think that Jonathan Larson is not all that he's cracked up to be. And Andrew Garfield changed my mind on that. I think that Benedict Cumberbatch did really well in Power of the Dog, but I don't think he did as good and gave as much in his performance as Andrew Garfield did. So we are exactly the same on this one.
Okay. So what about Javier Bardem?
You know what? I don't know much about Desi Arnaz. Like, I know almost nothing about him aside from like his whole like Lucy, I'm home, and I know that like he like did this a lot. I think I don't know anything. Yeah, I don't know anything about him. So I mean, he could have killed it, and I would never have known. I think that he was just fine. I think there was definitely a heartbreaking moment or two in Being the Ricardos, and I can see, okay, this is why he's nominated for this, and I can see it. But I like Javier Bardem more in other roles, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see where Ryan stands. All right. Rolled again.
Please be 5.
2. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch. There we go.
All right. Very nice. All right. So now we move on to lead actress. And the nominees are, let me pull up the sheet here. Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter. Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers. Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos. And Kristen Stewart for Spencer.
So this was my hardest category because I'd only seen one of these. And the one that I had seen, I had the exact same thing that you did with Javier Bardem in the role. I almost never at any point saw Nicole Kidman as Lucy. She always was just Nicole Kidman kind of doing a voice for me, which is a shame because she does give such a good performance in it, but I don't feel like she melted into the character as much. And that's almost what I like and what I was looking for in these categories is somebody that encapsulates it so much that you don't like when I watch Tick, Tick, Boom, I don't see, oh, that's Andrew Garfield. Like, oh, that's Jonathan Larson. And I guess that's Andrew Garfield playing him. So I picked it based on that. And unfortunately, or unfortunately, my pick is Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Because from what I've seen of it, it looks like she absolutely disappears into the role. I don't know that I would have necessarily recognized her, seeing how well she does in it.
Yeah, I've only seen Being the Ricardos. This is the category I have the least expertise on. right now. I might try to change that before Sunday, but I think have you seen Spencer?
I have not. I've seen pictures of Spencer, and I feel like if it would, here's my thing with it, is if it would have been as phenomenal as I think it could have been, I feel like I would have heard more about it. I don't even know that it came out until I saw it on this list.
I think it says something that it's like the one nomination that it has is for her performance. Because it's not nominated in Best Picture or any of the other categories that we talked about tonight. And out of the ones that are here, that's the one I'm most interested in seeing.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to go Kristen Stewart.
Perfect. I mean,
Spencer.
she definitely, from what I've seen, she 100% deserves it.
So yeah, that's my pick. I need to try to watch more films before Sunday, but I don't know if it's going to happen. But I feel bad that I'm kind of like guessing at this category.
I do. I feel bad for that too, really.
But yeah, I agree with you on Nicole Kidman. Like, she's good, but I don't really. I see her as Lucille Ball, but I never see her as Lucy.
Right.
It felt like she was doing an SNL impression.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was waiting for her to invite me to an AMC theater. So, all right, let's see what Ryan thought. Ryan's pick is 4, which is
I have 4 is Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
He loved it.
Did he love it?
He loved it.
Okay.
I don't actually know that he did, but
you talked to him about it.
You know,
No. You talked about the film, thought it was a documentary, then he came on and corrected you. Did you guys not talk about the movie?
We ended up talking about it. I guess he liked it. He couldn't get over the fact that it wasn't actually a documentary, and he didn't live blissfully ignorant like I did.
Okay. All right. So I think we have one more category left, correct?
Big one.
So yeah, this is a big one. I have to adjust the graphic here because it's big. So,
oh, wow.
Give me a second here. All right.
Ooh, how are you going to do Ryan's pick?
We'll get to that then.
Okay, good.
All right. So we're up to our final category here, which is Best Picture. Going to move that over here to the center. All right. So the nominees for Best Picture at the 2022 Academy Awards are Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. I have seen 9 out of the 10 of these.
Wow.
And I still don't know. We're going to talk this out. This is going to be we're going to be talking about this for a few minutes here, I think.
I mean, it has to, because I left this one blank too. This one's so hard. So of this category, we'll start with me because I haven't seen very many. Of this category, I have seen Don't Look Up and I have seen Power of the Dog all the way through. I don't know that I think West Side Story should win it. I know that people say it's phenomenal and that it's wonderful.
I don't think it should have been nominated, personally.
And that's fair. I mean, yours is like the one opinion that I've heard the most about the movie, and based on that, I don't feel like it belongs on the list. I don't think Don't Look Up should win. I think that it's a great movie. I don't think that it's Best Picture material. I think that Power of the Dog could be very close, but I don't think that it's Best Picture material. I think that if I had to pick one right now, it would be between Power of the Dog and a movie I hadn't seen yet is Belfast. For me, it's between those two. Since I've seen Power of the Dog, I literally have to pick it because I can't pick a movie I haven't seen as Best Picture. So I think it's going to be Power of the Dog.
Okay.
So that's literally my logic on there, is I can tell what I don't want it to be, and then I can say between the two I think it should be and the one that I've seen.
Okay. So here's where I'm at.
Okay.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think West Side Story should have been nominated.
Mm-hmm.
Power of the Dog is good and might stand a chance at winning this. I think it's probably the front runner right now from everything that I've seen on the internet. I did not like Licorice Pizza, so that is not my pick. I have not seen King Richard yet, but there's nothing that I've seen of King Richard that makes me go Best Picture. Absolutely.
Okay.
So I don't, even though I haven't seen it yet, I don't see, if I watch tonight and that becomes my pick, I'll be very surprised. Dune, I think, is great. I think Denis Villeneuve should have been nominated for director. I don't see it winning Best Picture.
Okay.
Drive My Car is good. It's not Parasite good. So it's rare that you get the foreign film in the Best Picture category.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't wow me like Parasite did.
Okay.
I think it's a great foreign film, and I think it's absolutely going to win that category. But I don't see it winning Best Picture. Don't Look Up, I feel like, is the popcorn nominee. Because if you can remember back to 2009 where they or 2010 when they added the 5 additional Best Picture nominees, it was for movies like The Dark Knight to be nominated for Best Picture. And then they go along and just add movies that have nothing to do with the popular zeitgeist.
Right.
So I think like I agree with Kevin Smith where a film like Spider-Man No Way Home should have been nominated.
Right.
But I feel like Don't Look Up is the popular one because it was on Netflix. Everyone talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
It had that viral moment.
Yeah.
I am torn between Belfast, Coda, and Nightmare Alley. Because
I had a feeling those were going to be your 3.
I absolutely loved Coda. And I think it's a great story. I think the performances are phenomenal. I don't know if it's best picture.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason for that. I think that what stands out about Coda more is the performances. Belfast, I think, is a fascinating story in the way it's told with just telling his life story, like a story of his life in this moment, and the way he goes about doing that. Because there are some stylistic choices that they make in this film that are very interesting. But makes sense if you know who the director of the film is. Mm-hmm. Nightmare Alley left my jaw on the floor at the end of it. Like the film ended, and luckily I was watching it on HBO because I was like, wait, what? And I rewound it and watched the end scene again. I was like, that's amazing. Oh man, this is so tough.
So, okay, I just looked it up. So Shape of Water swept the Oscars, it sounds like, when it was up. How is Nightmare Alley compared to Shape of Water in your mind? Is it at the same level? Because if it is, that almost sounds like a good indication of what the winner might be.
If I had to choose between watching Shape of Water and Nightmare Alley right now, I'm going Nightmare Alley.
Okay.
If I had to choose between Nightmare Alley and Belfast,
really,
I love Belfast. I love all 3 of the films that I listed here. I think I'm going to go Nightmare Alley.
You go Nightmare Alley?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think it would be this hard.
They sound like really good movies, and I do genuinely hope you make us watch some of these movies.
Oh, I absolutely am.
Because you've sold me on those 3 movies specifically. I want to watch them really badly, and if you don't, I'm now going to seek them out. Because I now want to see what Coda's about. I really want to know what Nightmare Alley is about. And I want to... I mean, Kenneth Branagh. Like, I'm gonna watch Belfast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's Nightmare Alley for me. Just everything... Like... Belfast has such a great personal story for Kenneth Branagh that he directed the hell out of and did a great job with the screenplay. Coda is such a great performance-based story. But Nightmare Alley, like, everything just hits.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper is fantastic. Cate Blanchett, Toni Collette, Rooney Mara, Willem Dafoe,
I didn't know these people were in this movie,
Jenkins,
by the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ron Perlman. It's a stacked cast, and it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm going Nightmare Alley.
Fair.
That's my pick for Best Picture. Let's find out what Ryan's pick is.
What did Ryan pick?
Let me bring up the dice. I'm gonna make it bigger for everyone so they can actually see what we're rolling for. Okay, so how we're gonna do this?
I was wondering because there are 10 nominees.
So there are 10 nominees. Do we want to eliminate some nominees to begin with?
I don't know what Ryan would eliminate. Is my
thing. What I'm thinking is we roll the dice to eliminate them. So we can roll the dice twice and eliminate, or roll the dice a few times and just eliminate a few.
Okay, done. And then whatever's left.
Yeah. So let's roll the dice for the first row and see which one of those we get rid of.
Okay.
All right.
This is for the first 6?
For right off the first 5. First 5. Because we've been doing 5 for everything else. Belfast is eliminated.
Belfast is gone. I'm actually compiling the list here. Right. So then we can compare them.
Do we just want to keep rolling it until we have this Best Picture?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So row 1, Belfast is out. Okay. Row 2, let's see. From King Richard to West Side Story. Power of the Dog is out.
Power of the Dog is out.
All right. So you're keeping track. Row 1 again. So we got 2 through 5.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta roll again. Roll again. Don't Look Up is eliminated.
Don't Look Up's gone.
Okay. All right. Row 2 again. King Richard is out.
King Richard's gone.
All right. Making this way more complicated. Okay. Back to row 1.
It's all right.
All right.
We have 3, 4, and 5.
All right.
Or no, sorry. It's 2, 3, and 4 we have.
All right.
Coda, Drive My Car, and Dune.
4 is eliminated.
4 is gone. We only have Coda and Drive My Car left in that one.
Okay. So back to row 2. Nightmare Alley is out.
Oh, so now we only have Licorice Pizza, West Side Story, Drive My Car, and Coda left.
Okay. When we get to the last 2, we'll flip a coin.
Sounds good.
All right. So Drive My Car is out.
Drive My Car's out.
All right. So
man.
Row 2, what do we got?
Licorice Pizza and West Side Story.
West Side Story is out. So it's
Licorice Pizza and Coda.
All right.
So you see if I have any coins around here.
I got a coin.
You got a coin? All right.
Yeah. I've got my power coin.
Your power coin?
From my morpher, yeah. All right. So I'm going to flip it right here.
So is it heads, Coda, tails, Licorice Pizza?
Actually, do I have my other one? Okay. So yeah, heads will be Coda, tails will be Licorice Pizza.
All right. I'm ready.
You ready?
Yep.
It's tails.
It's tails. Licorice Pizza it is. Good pick, man. Ryan.
Oh, man.
I hope he doesn't think that was like a troll pick on our side. Like we actually did, like we did it scientifically.
Yeah. We did. Yeah. And I think that was the best way to do it.
I agree.
Yeah. That does it. All right. So we have some business to take care of because we did not talk about this before the stream.
All right, let's do business. I'm ready.
So we have done bets before on the show.
Yes.
We infamously did our spider bet, where you believe that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were not going to show up in Spider-Man No Way Home. Spoilers, they did. And because you lost that, your losing wager was you have to recreate the Spider-Man 3 dance sequence.
Yep.
Shot for shot.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm still waiting for.
It's still going to happen.
So, I don't think Ryan's included in this. But maybe we'll do something for him if he does win.
Yeah.
Or actually, let's talk about this. So,
okay,
there's going to be one winner who has the most right out of all of these categories. What happens to the other 2 when they lose?
That's a good question. So what I was almost thinking for this is that whoever wins the most gets a special pick on our podcast of any movie that we want, regardless of whether we've watched it or not. So, for example, I could make you guys all watch Jurassic Park because I just want to talk about Jurassic Park with you guys, even though I know we've all seen it. Or the first Star Wars movie or something. I feel like we love the movies that we love enough that we would want to talk about them. And that would be like a fun reward for us to break format for one episode.
I like that a lot. I also feel like the loser has to be punished somehow.
Agreed. Completely agreed. What should the loser have to do?
Miss Little Moon says fan poll.
Yeah, we could do a fan poll.
Of what though?
Okay, here's what we do. During the Oscar live stream, we come up with, before the Oscar live stream, you and I come up with 5 different options for punishments for whoever gets the worst bracket. During the Oscar live stream, whoever's on the stream with us has the option to vote for what happens to the loser.
Okay.
So while we pick the reward, they pick the punishment. It gives them an incentive to tune in. It gives us high stakes because we'll pick some embarrassing things. It's going to be great.
I am all for that. That sounds fantastic. I'm trying to think what my pick would be when I win. No, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
So, so we will be live again this Sunday, talking about the Oscars as they are happening right here on Twitch and maybe Facebook, but mostly Twitch. So if you want to join us then, I believe the ceremony starts. I'll probably start around half hour before the ceremony starts, talk a little bit about the red carpet. And I think they're doing a few awards before the ceremony officially starts. So
weird.
Some of the categories aren't being presented during the show, which is a whole thing that we'll talk about on Sunday. But I am going to have to make a spreadsheet to figure out who's winning what here. So it's going to be a good time. Devon will join us for the tail end of the stream on Sunday, hopefully. If not, I'm going to call you and make sure you get there.
You need to, yes.
It's going to be a long night. I will be dressed to the nines.
Me too.
It'll be a great time. We hope to see you there. If you're watching us here on Twitch, go ahead and hit that follow button. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Tell your friends about us. You can listen to You Have to Watch This podcast on all major podcasting platforms. Our episode on Encanto and Turning Red will be hitting your podcast feeds tomorrow morning. So I'll be editing that this afternoon and putting that out there. So it'll be out tomorrow. With this stream, I kind of let that slip a little bit. So I think that does it. Thank you so much for joining me, Devon.
Yeah, thank you.
Make sure you hang up your tuxedo.
I will.
Best of luck to you, good sir.
Good. Best of luck to you. Do that.
Something really bad needs to happen to the both of us if Ryan wins.
That at that point, like we need like really bad punishment.
Ryan needs to pick the worst movie he can think. Like he needs to get us back for real for MacGruber then.
Like a movie 43.
His worst movie that he can think of to make us watch.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. So that'll be that. But yeah, thank you for joining us. This has been our Oscar preview. We will see you again Sunday. Again, hit that follow button. And for You Have to Watch This podcast, I am Alan.
And I'm Devon.
And just like the Oscars, we went over time, but hey, it's the internet. We don't have any sponsors.
Doesn't matter.
So we will see you Sunday.
See ya.